Presbyterian is the way I was raised and baptized. They were the same. I believe so. I pray every day. We don't go to church. Can't find one that we like. Well, I read the Bible, both the Old Testament and New Testament, while I was out on Midway Island. My mother sent the Old Testament to me, or the New Testament. And I was taught when I was a kid, you never lie, you do not judge anyone. That's the good Lord's job. And do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Do not judge anyone else, because it is not his place, my place, to judge anyone else. That's the good Lord's job. And having a good family, we had 4 children, and all turned out good, wonderful. We have 9 grandchildren and 19 great-grandchildren, and most of them, as far as I know, are wonderful people and have good values, and we have raised a wonderful family. I only believe half of what I see and nothing what I hear. I have to, well, it could be I may believe something, but I usually know that the best thing is the only time you really believe something is when you see it happen. So that's it.
I am Catholic, Roman Catholic. My mom was Catholic, and my mom is Catholic still, and my dad, he's converted to Catholicism after he married my mom, but he was a different religion. He was Church of Christ, and I'm not sure what that is actually. Some type of Christian, I think. Not exactly. I think that my mom's point of view, and she's more of the religious one. My dad converted when they got married, so he's not really into the Catholicism, but I think she sees things more as black and white. I mean, black and white, wrong or right. It's very clean line between both. For me, it depends. I think some things can be both wrong and right at the same time. Just depends. Yes, I go to church every Sunday. I pray every night before I go to bed. I pray before every meal, unless I forget or unless something distracts me. But I pretty much make a point to pray if I need anything. If I feel like I need anything that I need help in, I pray for that also. Well, I feel like whatever I do in this world or how you live your life here is what will happen to you, and will be the determination of where you go after this life is done. Or yeah. So I try to be good, and I try to live a good life, because I believe it's important in order to get where you want to be in the end. Is to be good to one another and to live a Christian life by being good to your neighbor and helping others who can't help themselves. And I am right now getting my master's in rehab counseling, and right now I'm working at a place where they do vocational rehab for people who have disabilities. So I feel like that's my way of contributing to the world, because I'm assisting others who can't help themselves in trying to be independent and provide for themselves and for their families. And I think that's a good thing. truth comes from God. I believe truth comes from God. I don't know how, but He's all-knowing, and He's the only one who knows everything.
I usually think of myself as an atheist, but I, go back and forth between that and agnosticism. But atheism is probably the closest one. I don't really believe there's a God in the sense that there's a God out there oversees our lives and kind of guides our fate. I don't see that, or that can intervene and somehow reward us for good actions or punish us for bad actions. I don't see that at all. My father claimed to be an atheist. He didn't believe in God. He never went to church. Didn't encourage us to go to church. Mama did. Mama, she wasn't she wasn't obsessive about going to church. Very seldom did she go to church, unless there was some kind of special occasion. But she did have a big Bible, and we would, she had it there mostly as reading material. She wouldn't read to us from it, and my father, of course, never read to us from it. But it was made available to us, and it was a really nice Bible. It had a lot of interesting pictures and gold this and silver that, and I would remember going through it, reading it, and reading portions of it. And then, of course, my parents enrolled us in Catholic schools. But they did it not because of religious principles, but they did it because they thought Catholic schools were better. And so it was mostly for the education that we thought we would get. But of course, being in a Catholic school, then we received a lot of Catholic instruction. To some extent, yes, actually, yeah, I think so. I think because I got elements of both. I do see myself as an atheist, but that doesn't mean I don't wonder about the beauty of life. I do, and at the same time, I do pay attention to spiritual issues, mostly because through the influence of my mom. Unlike my mom, I don't see ghosts and spirits everywhere. My mom did. She imagined that there were spirits hovering all over the place, and there were good ones and bad ones, and I don't see that. So I would say that, yeah, there's a similarity between the way my parents thought and the way I think. I'm probably a mixture of the two. I'm not as dogmatically atheistic as my father is. On the other hand, I'm also not as a believer in the idea of a God, or in the belief of spirits or supernatural and things like that, like my mom is. My mom believes all that stuff. I engage in meditation. It's kind of an informal way of doing it. Almost always it's at nighttime. Sometimes in the mornings when I wake up. I try to kind of find a sense of peace. Totally. Oh, totally. I think I live my life in accordance with that. To me, it's important to live a life that's whole. Living a bifurcated life, living a life where I believe one thing but act in a different way, it creates too much tension. So I try to live my life in accordance to the way I believe. Now that doesn't mean that I have these dogmatic beliefs and therefore I force my life to be that way, but rather that there's an ongoing interaction between the way my ideas evolve and my behavior. So my purpose in life, there's that kind of the public part, and then there's the personal part. The public, and it's hard to distinguish the two because they're a blend of the two, but throughout most of my life, easily since the time I was maybe 14 years old, and still to this very day, I've always believed that I was supposed to learn as much as possibly can about how society works in order to make it better. And so I see my job as trying to figure out ways to make things better for society. in human beings. And so for that reason I study all kinds of stuff. I study economics, I study politics, I study philosophy, I study psychology, you know. And I do it not just because I derive pleasure from that intellectual pursuit, but because I believe that somehow it's connected to my ability to change things, to make things better. And so I try to do that through my teaching, the way I interact with my students, the way I teach. And I also do that through my writing. And I also do that by attending political rallies and things of that nature. The articles in the book I've written, my teaching, and the influence I've had on students. Students are drawn to me. I get random emails and postcards and stuff like that from students that graduated years ago telling me how much I influenced them. So that feels good. I like that. So through my teaching, through my writing, I've had those effects. That the truths are always evolving and changing in light of what's occurring. So what might be true at one point in our lives, given the circumstances, becomes slightly different under a different set of circumstances. And so rather than imagining that we somehow strive and eventually get to the truth, I think instead what happens is that truth is continually being sought after, created, changed, sought after, created, changed. Does that make sense?